welcome to Dakshana, even though it's a few months since you've been here. And I hope you're having a good time, and I hope you're studying hard. And so today we're gonna talk about a subject that is very near and dear to my heart. I hope for some of you, it might be a very small number of you, it might become very near and dear to your hearts. We'll see. And there's a quote, I think it's a quote by Einstein. He says, take a simple idea and take it seriously. So when you study really successful people, what you find is when you kind of study how they got there, for a large number of them, at the core, it's a very simple idea. So what they did was not complicated, but they pursued that idea with a with a high degree of intensity. So they took something that was a simple idea and they pursued it with a high degree of intensity. And that pursuit with a high degree of intensity led to success. Now there are other people, like for example, Steve Jobs creating Apple and the iPhone, or the Google guys creating Google and so on. Those guys came up with complicated ideas, and they executed on complicated ideas. That is more the exception to the rule. Most of the time, the successes come from intensity of pursuit of simple ideas. And so what I'm going to talk about today, and actually it won't really be a talk, it's really going to be a dialogue answering your questions, is really around a very simple idea. And it's the idea of compounding. It's not complicated, it's a straightforward idea. Most humans do not approach it with an intensity of pursuit. Thankfully, I had decided a long time back to approach it with extreme intensity, with a fanaticism, if you will. And if that intensity of fanaticism wasn't there, then there wouldn't be a Dakshana, and we wouldn't be meeting. This would not be happening. So I think the intensity of that pursuit is important. And so Einstein is attributed to have said that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. And I agree with that. There's a very good reason it's the eighth wonder of the world. But we will go into these various areas. All of you have spent some time, seen some videos, is that right? So why don't we start with your questions? So the first question. Yeah.
Sir, I'm Rakibul Islam from JNB Barpeta, Assam. You have told us a very useful and efficient way to make money. But as we can see around us that not everyone who is investing their money in this share market is successful. But you have earned an immense wealth by simply using the idea of compounding. So what remains the difference between your strategy in investing your money and others? And what are the obstacles that we might face while investing our money in that field? And please, sir, tell us the ways to overcome these obstacles and so that we can also make money like you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, all right. So what we're going to do is, before I answer your question, I want to play a video for you. So can we get the video? And let's play the entire video.
में तू आग लगा दे बेबी फायर नकली से नखरे तू करे जब देखे हमें झूठी लायर काला काला चश्मा जचता तेरे मुखड़े पे जैसे काला दिल जचता है तेरे चिन पे अपनी अदाओं से ज्यादा नहीं तो 10-12 लड़के तो मार ही देती होगी तू दिन में
तुझे जैसे 36 फिरते हैं मेरे वर्गी और न होनी वे वर्गी और न होनी वर्गी और न होनी तू मुंडा बिल्कुल देसी है मैं कटरी ना तो सोनी वे मैं फेड अप हो गई हूं मुंडिया सुन सुन के तेरे दुखने वे मैनू काला चश्मा ओ मैनू काला 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 ओ मैनू काला चश्मा जचदा ए गोरे मुखड़े ते मैनू काला चश्मा जचदा ए गोरे मुखड़े ते जचदा ए गोरे मुखड़े ते
सड़कों पे चले जब लड़कों के दिलों में तू आग लगा दे बेबी फायर
We have this lady, Sonia Patel. Sonia Patel, I think it's said she was born in 1944. And in 1966, she was in the US, she started making $15,000 a year. Please have a seat. So she's making $15,000 a year, which is approximately about 10 lakhs a year. Approximately, if you take the, 64 rupees to a dollar, which is approximately similar to the amount many of you may get paid after you finish from IIT. In fact, it may be a little bit more than that because that's kind of the current pay. In 4 or 5 years, it'll go up from there. So what Sonia Patel was getting paid in 1966 in the US is similar to what you would get paid in 2017 in India. Very similar. What did Sonia Patel do? Sonia Patel, when she started working, she was making 10 lakhs per year. She was getting raises that were just little bit above inflation, 1 or 2% above inflation. And she was saving 15% of the money she was making. So she was making 10 lakhs a year. She was saving 1.5 lakh per year, about 12,000 rupees a month. Many of the Dakshana alums I know, when they start working, they fall into 2 camps. There's one camp which goes and buys the Royal Enfield motorcycle and takes a lot of loans and spends everything that is coming in. That's one camp. The second camp is saving money. And the ones who are saving money, maybe even saving 3-4 lakhs a year. They're saving quite a bit. So what Sonia Patel is doing is she's not saving a lot of money. She's saving a modest amount. And what she's doing is she's investing in something known as a stock market index. In her case, because she's in the US, she invested in something known as the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is a collection of 500 of some of the largest businesses in the US. And so when she pays a mutual fund house to invest the money in the S&P 500, the cost is very low. The cost would be maybe something like 1/10 of 1% a year. Really, really small cost to invest that money. So almost whatever gain comes out of those 500 companies is coming to her. And we have those indices in India as well. So we have in the Bombay Stock Exchange something known as the Sensex, which is an index of 30 stocks, large stocks. Like Reliance will be there, and Godrej will be there, and these sorts of companies. And we also have something known as the Nifty 50, which is a collection of 50 large companies. So there are indices like the S&P 500 in India, just like the US. And the question you asked is that, what happens if we invest in stock market and we lose money? So here's what happened with Sonia Patel. So first thing what happened with her is she's only making 10-12 lakhs a year. And she keeps saving it and investing it. And by the time she finishes the investing in the year 2014. It's gone for a long time. It's gone for basically 34, about 40, 48 years, till she's 70 years old, she's compounding. It is $6.4 million, which is approximately 40 crores. So this person who was making about 10 lakhs a year now has 40 crores. And if you have 40 crores in India today, it's not a bad amount of money. It's a good amount of money. But the thing is, what happened with her, for example, is when you look at it in the period of 99 to 2002, so you can see in 1999, she had about 3.3 million, right? And then she dropped to 2 million. You had a concern, what if we lose money? She lost money. Was she concerned? Did she make any changes? No. We are not going to make any changes. And did it matter that she lost money? So what happened is, 99 to 2002, she drops from 3.2 to 2 million. From 2002 to 2007, she doubles her money. It goes from 2 million to 4 million. Then the financial crisis comes. Again, she drops from 4 million to 2 million. 50% of the money is gone. Is she concerned about it? Did she do anything about it? No. And then from 2008 onwards, she tripled her money. So if you look at certain periods, for example, if I look at a period from, for example, looking right here at approximately this peak, which is coming in the year 2000, she has about 3.3 million. And then if I look at continuing all the way to here, which is 2011, she again has 3.3 million, right? So from 2000 to 2011, 11 years, she keeps putting her savings. There is no result. 11 years, her annual returns are below zero. Why is it below zero? Because she's saving every year, right? Every year she's adding. For 11 years, she kept adding the money, and the money kept going down. Did she make any changes? Sonia Patel, she's my hero. I love Sonia Patel. She's a character I invented. I wish I could meet her. Long live Sonia Patel. Okay? So, what is the lesson we can take from Sonia Patel? Now, Sonia Patel is a woman engineer who runs a certain way. Then there is the rest of humans. Let me tell you what the rest of what I would call idiot humanity, what the rest of humanity does. What the rest of humanity does is when this happens, they pull all the money out and put it under the mattress. Or they pull the money out and buy gold. Or they pull the money out and put it in the FD. They get panicked. Okay? When they do that, what happens is, and they do it at this point. This is the point when they pull the money out. This is the point where most of you, unfortunately, will pull the money out. You will not pull it over here. This point you are having a lot of fun. You will pull it out over here. And you will put it into what I consider very stupid places. Then, once you pull it out, it will never get to 6.4 million. Once you pull it out, how are you going to get it to 6.4 million? Not going to happen. Done. Why does every engineer who retires not have 40 crores with them? because of two things, two or three things. One is either they are not saving, or if they are saving, they are putting investment. So humans have difficulty with investments which go like this. Many of you, in many of your questions, I was asked, just give me something that goes like this. I can't deal with this. I want just straight line up. And let me just tell you, straight line up exists. You can do straight line up. But when you do straight line up, the returns will drop a lot. So for example, you can do FD. If you put money in FD, whatever money you put at the beginning of the year, you will have more than that at the end of the year. The next year, again, you will have more than that. It will go up straight. But if you put it in FD, and I put it in the Sensex, after 30 years, I'm going to have a lot more than you. Many, many times more than you. And because I was willing to go deal with the ups and downs, right? So the important thing in investing and in compounding is you have to let the runway run completely. And now this will take some time for you to understand. So you do not need, Sonia Patel did not understand the stock market. Sonia Patel does not know how to pick which stock to buy. She has no idea about that. All she did is she bought an index. And you can do the same thing. If you buy an index, you're buying 30 or 50 companies. And in those companies, there's some companies that will do really well, and some companies that will go away. But the long-term record of pretty much any index, which is a broad index around the world, is over time it has gone up. Now, they have gone through periods, sometimes long periods, where they don't do anything. But you have, so in my case, my life expectancy is probably around the age of 80, maybe low 80s. If I do an actuarial table and looked at how long I'm going to live, that's how long I'm going to live. If we do the same thing for you, with you being 18 years old or 19 years old or 17 years old, you are all going to live, or most of you will live past 90. Many of you will live past 100. Your life expectancy will be much more than ours because you've arrived later and medicine's going to get better. And so what that means is that the length of the runway that you have to run this is longer than the length I have. And so it is important to understand that consistent savings, consistent investing, willing to take the ups and downs is the way to get to the promised land. And that's the path I took, and it's a path I would recommend many of you to take. And so let's see what other questions you have. Let's go to the next question. Yeah.
So I'm Kirti Kumar from Vidyagan School, Sitapur. So my question is that, what is the significance of Sensex and Nifty in stock investment?
Okay, very good. Let's talk about the Sensex and Nifty. I mean, Sensex and Nifty are indices. So please have a seat. So for example, let's say we looked at the 50 most valuable businesses in India, businesses that have the biggest amount of value. So these would be companies like HDFC Bank, Maruti, it may have Reliance in there, it may have Eicher Motors, it may have Tata Consulting Services, Infosys, many different companies from many different industries, mining, IT, healthcare, It may have Sun Pharmaceuticals, etc. So when they form an index, what they do is they take all these companies and they basically take portions of, they pretend like I have, for example, 1 lakh, and I have these 50 companies, I put 2,000 in each company. And then they create an index. So when you buy the index, you're buying all 50 companies. And it's a very good way to invest because you don't have to figure out, is TCS going to do well in the future or not? Or is Reliance going to do well in the future or not? Some of these companies will do well. Some of them, these companies will not do well. So if I look at the, for example, the Sensex, which is also like the Nifty 50, but 30 positions, 30 stocks. So in 1980, the Sensex had a value of approximately 100. It's not 100 rupees, it's just a value of 100. Okay? What is the value of the Sensex today? Does anyone know what the Sensex is at today? If you do, just raise your hand. Okay, so if you just open up any newspaper, they will tell you the value of Sensex. Or you can go to God Google, and God Google will tell you the value of Sensex. I don't know the exact value, I haven't kept track, but I think Sensex is at approximately 33,000 now. Okay? So what that means is that if in 1980 you had put 100 rupees into Sensex, today you would have 33,000 rupees without adding any more money. 1980 you put 100, it's 33,000. But you made more than 33,000 because every year the Sensex gave dividends. So when you put 100 rupees, that year you got 1 or 2 rupees as dividend, like interest payment to you. And every year you kept getting those interest payments. So those interest payments, which are approximately 1 or 2% of the Sensex, like right now, if the Sensex is at 33,000, the interest payment you're getting is somewhere between 300 and 600 rupees. So what you put 100 rupees in 1980, now every year you're getting back 300 to 600 rupees, plus the Sensex is going up in value. So it would be an approximation, but I would just say that it is 37 years from 1980 till now, right? And in 37 years, if you're getting 1 or 2% approximately, you almost got the same amount back. So if the Sensex had not given you any money back, it just went back into the Sensex, or you took the money and put it back in the Sensex, the 100 rupees would be close to maybe somewhere between 50 to 70,000 rupees. Okay? So if 100 rupees becomes 50,000 rupees in 37 years, that is a 500x return. Your money went up 500 times, right? And so what is the, if it went up 500 times, it went up approximately 9 doubles. 2 to the power 9 is 512. It went up doubled 9 times. And if in 37 years, it doubled 9 times, approximately every four odd years, your money doubled. If you put it into Sensex, what happened is approximately what happened is 1980 it was 100, 1984 it was 200, 1988 it was 400, and just kept going from there. Now it did not go up exactly like that. It went up like the chart showed. It did all kinds of things up and down. There were 10-year periods, 15-year periods, it didn't do anything. And there were some periods where short period it did a lot. So it was gyrating all over the point. But if you look at the endpoints, every 4 years or 5 years, it was doubling. Now, there is something known as the rule of 72. How many of you have heard of the rule of 72? Raise your hand. Okay, so the rule of 72 is a mathematical rule that's a kind of a simple way to understand how money is compounding or how anything is increasing in value. So if money doubles in 4 years, I want to know what the rate of return is. I can take 72 divided by 4, which is 18. it means I'm getting annually 18% a year. Okay, so if the Sensex went from 100 to 50,000, including dividends, in, let's make it 36 years, so it's exactly 9 doubles, it did 18% a year. You would have a hard time getting 18% a year for last 37 years in a FD. You would not get that. You would get less than that. So like I said, the FD would give you a consistent performance. The Sensex is giving you an up and down performance, but the up and down performance in the end overtakes the consistent performance, right? So the Sensex is a very, so one of the good things about these indices and the market is you don't need to understand investing. You don't need to understand which company is going to do well in the future, which company is run by a crook, which company is a good company, which company is a bad company. No understanding of that. You don't need any of that understanding. Sonia Patel had no understanding of that. You buy these broad indices, and what they say, set it and forget it. So broad index, 15, 20, 30% of your salary every year going, every month going into it, and just forget about everything. Let it do its thing for 30, 40, 50 years. And after 30, 40, 50 years, you'll suddenly look and say, my God, I'm the wealthiest guy of anyone I know. So simple. Okay, so next question. At the back.
Sir, I'm Atif from JCI High School. My question is that why should I invest in stock market and take so much risk? Instead of that, I can invest in gold or real estates.
Such a beautiful question. Thank you. Please have a seat. I told you Sensex went from 100 to 50,000. 1980, I was in 10th standard in CBSE, just like many of you. And 1980, my father had many businesses. In 1980, he had a business of making gold jewelry. So at that time, I was very familiar with the price of gold, because obviously the gold price is affecting the price of the jewelry. And I know the price of gold in 1980 because I used to watch it every day. I was 16 years old at that time. So in the late 70s, early 80s, around that time, gold was selling for between $300 to $800 per ounce. Okay, an ounce is approximately 28 grams. So let's say round number 30 grams. So it was selling for somewhere between $10 and let's say other end $30 per gram, which if you translate to today, it was selling for 600 to 1800 rupees per gram. That's what gold was selling for. So that 300 to 800 per ounce. Today, gold is at 1200 per ounce. And in last 37 years, gold has not given any dividend. I buy the gold, I put it in my safe. After that, nothing comes to me. Like I told you, the Sensex every month I'm getting 1 or 2%. The gold is just sitting there. It's not increasing in weight. Does the gold increase in weight if I put it in my, not increasing in weight, just sitting in the same weight. No extra gold is coming to me every year. It sits there. So if I bought at the best possible price, which is $300 an ounce, from 1980 to 2017, my money went up 4 times. How many times did it go up in the Sensex? 500 times. In the Sensex, there are companies run by people who are crooks. Some of them, not all of them, some companies. We didn't even care about that. We just put it in the Sensex. Even with the crooks and all of that in the picture, it still did more than gold. Now, if I was really smart and I put it just in Infosys, Let's say I'm a really smart guy. When Infosys went public, I put it only in Infosys. I think Infosys must have gone public in the 1990s, 6,000 times. But I didn't do that. I don't know if Infosys is going to do well or not. I was not trying to pick particular companies. So, should we invest in gold? How many of your parents think gold is a great investment? Raise your hand. Nobody thinks gold is a great investment. Suddenly a guy, as the person at the back was just telling me he was going to go into gold. Can you stand up again? Are you excited about gold?
No, sir.
Pardon?
No, sir.
No more? Lost all enthusiasm for gold? Okay, have a seat. So, if Martians, people from Mars, were looking at planet Earth, these people living on Mars, they're looking at planet Earth, this is what they would see humans doing. They will see humans in South Africa digging holes and producing some shiny metal. They're digging some hole and some shiny metal, gold is coming in their hands. Then they are making this metal into nice squares. And they are again digging another hole to make an underground vault. And they put that shiny metal in the underground vault. So this Martian will look, okay, the human race, they dig one hole, pull it out, dig second hole, put it there. What do you think the Martian's going to think? He's going to think this is one of the most stupid things humans can do. So the thing about gold is a non-productive asset. Non-productive asset. It has value because people think it has value. Just like if I look at the Mona Lisa painting, it has value because people think it has value. And if someone buys a Mona Lisa today, just like someone buys gold today, they are making some estimate that maybe somebody else will buy it for me later at higher price. That may happen or may not happen. So if you bought gold at $800 an ounce in 1980 or 81, when it was at that price, just a few years back, maybe 3-4 years back, it was at 800 an ounce. You would have gone for almost more than 30 years with zero return. Absolutely zero, right? So as an asset class, it has not done well. And why does the Sensex do well? Why does gold do so badly? And why does the Sensex or the Nifty do so well? Well, because what happens is that someone starts a business. He gets some customers. The customers give him money, expands the business, et cetera, and it creates value. It creates a lot of value. So, for example, when I started my first business, the amount of money that went into it, which I mostly had borrowed, was approximately $100,000, which would be about 60 lakhs, right? About 60 lakhs went into the business. When it was sold for many, many millions of dollars. And how did that 60 lakhs become into many, many crores, tens of crores? How did that happen? Well, it happened because we created value. We created productivity. If someone sets up, for example, a plant to make motorcycles, okay? So let's say it costs 1,000 crores to make the plant, to make the motorcycles. They may sell so many motorcycles that every year that plant is making 300-400 crores, right? And so in 2-3 years, you guys get the money back that you put in. And then after 2-3 years, it may be making 1,000 crores. So when we invest in productive assets, so let's say you go to work for Tata Consulting Services. Some of you will end up with Tata Consulting Services. We have a lot of alums there. It's very simple. Tata will pay you 10-12 lakhs a year, and they will send you to some client who's going to pay Tata 50 lakhs per year for your services, 4 times what Tata is paying you. Is Tata going to make money? Definitely. So again, if you had bought Tata stock whenever it went public, again, you would make probably 2,000-3,000 times what you invested, because it's a very good business. Anytime I can hire lots of people, pay them all 10 lakhs, and then send them to someone else who's paying me 50 lakhs, I'm going to make a lot of money, right? It's a good business. Not many people can do that business, but Tata can do it. And so that's why we don't want to look at things like gold. Let's go to the next question.
Sir, my name is Simran and I am from JNV, Mahendragarh, Haryana. My question is, if we don't have any knowledge about market, compounding, business, then how can we invest?
Did I just answer your question? आपके सब फंडे क्लियर हो गए हैं?
No, sir.
Still not clear? How many people have the fundas clear at this point? Please raise your hand. Good. The good news is some of your classmates, please have a seat. Some of your classmates have got fundas clear. And by the time we finish the session, I'm hoping more people get their fundas clear, which would be great. Yeah, so I think the simple thing to do, I think, is right now, focus on getting into IIT or getting into a good medical school. Don't focus on what I'm telling you, okay? And don't even think about what I'm telling you. When you are getting close to graduating, 3rd or 4th year, at that time, send me an email. And my email address is mpabrai, M-P-A-B-R-A-I, @dakshana.org. Send me an email and said, you had come to Dakshana Valley. You told me to send you an email when I'm in 3rd year or 4th year. I'm now in 3rd year and 4th year. I want to get clarity on how to make money in stock market. What I will do is, at that point, I'll give you a list of books, okay? And do we have that list here? We have the list? Okay, so we'll actually give you the list today. Don't even need to email me later. Just ignore the list. Ignore the list for a few years, because it is of no point to you today, because you're not making any money today. When you start earning, read those books. That will give you some knowledge. And if you feel comfortable, then you can do something like this. If you're not comfortable, you can always buy gold, or you can buy FD, or you can buy the Royal Enfield motorcycle. No problem. Any of the above is fine. So for some of you, it may make sense. And for some of you, it may not make sense. But the main thing is, I think that this is an area, because it has the potential to have transformational effects on you, it's an area worth paying attention to. So I'll tell you a little bit about my own story, which will maybe try to give you some input on this. Is in 1994, I was 30 years old, and for the first time ever, I heard about a guy named Warren Buffett. Some of you might have heard of him. How many of you have heard of Warren Buffett? Raise your hand. Good. Looks like he's quite popular in Caduce village. That's wonderful. So I heard about this guy, Warren Buffett, for the first time in 94. And I noticed that he was quite wealthy at that time. And I also noticed at that time that he was focused on compounding his wealth. And he was compounding his wealth without really creating anything kind of like, he's not creating some invention or some discovery or some new drug or something. He's just passively investing in different companies, different things, and compounding wealth. And he had done extreme compounding. And so at that time in 94, for the first time, I realized that this compounding is very powerful. And I realized that when Buffett had started in 1950, so in 1950, he had $10,000. He had done a number of different jobs when he was a child. He was 20 years old. he had about $10,000. And he had been compounding at more than like 25% a year, 25% a year for a long time. So if you take, let's say, for example, a 20% rate of compounding, right? So actually, let's make it even simpler. Let's make it an 18% rate of compounding, which is lower than what Buffett has done. Buffett has done about north of 20% a year. So the key thing in compounding is how long does it take for money to double? So at 18%, how long does it take? Rule of 72. 72 divided by 18, what is that number? 4. So money doubles at 4 years. Now, why did Einstein say it's the eighth wonder of the world? So the reason he said eighth wonder of the world is, let's say, for example, I run this for 40 years, right? 10 periods of doubles. 10 doubles, every 4 years money is doubling. It's 2 to the power of 10. What is 2 to the power of 10? Right, 1024. Throw away the 24. We want simple math. Don't do this in your JE paper. Only over here, okay? So 1,000 times. If you start with $10,000, after 40 years, you will add 3 zeros because you've multiplied by 1,000. So $10,000 becomes $10 million. So $10,000 was 6 lakhs. In 40 years, it becomes 60,000. Well, it becomes, I'm sorry, let me just make sure it's $10 million. So it becomes about 650 crores. 65 crores, sorry. 10 million is about 65 crores. Yeah, that's right, 65 crores. And so the 10,000 became 65 crores, right? 6 lakhs became 65 crores. And so when I saw what Buffett was doing, and he was doing more than 18%, he was doing in the mid-20s, I realized that this guy is going to end up becoming the wealthiest person because he was 20 at the time. So if he went for 40 years, he's 60. But he didn't stop at 60. So if I start with 10,000 and I have $10 million when I'm 60 years old, and I keep doing 18%, he's now 87. Let's say, for example, he lives to 92, right? So another 32 years, right? 5 more years for me. So 32 years is 8 doubles. What is 8 doubles? 256, right? 250 times. So if I have $10 million, and let's say I multiply that by 1,000, that's 10 billion, then divide by 4, 2.5 billion. 2.5 billion is about 16,000 crores out of 6 lakhs. So this is what he did. He knew the runway was long. He would continue to compound. He's smart at compounding. He didn't need to do the index. He actually figured out how to buy stocks, did even better than the index, and this is where he ended up, right? And so when I read about this in 94, I said, ye to funda easy hai, and it's not complicated. And I told you, most humans will read this, they'll get amused by it, but they will not make a left turn in their life to change how they live their life. I decided in 94, I'm going to take a left turn. And what I did is in 94, I had sold a portion of my business. I had $1 million, which is about 6.5 crores. I said, agar 1 million, if we compound at 26% or 24% actually, it will double in 3 years. So I said I was 30 years old. Let's go till 60 and play a game, right? So 1 million at 24% doubles every 3 years. 2 to the power of 10. 1,000. 1 million becomes 1 billion. Okay, 1,000 million. It is 6,500 crores. I thought 6,500 crores is a better number than 6.5 crores. Better number. So I said, this sounds too simple. I don't know whether I am fooling myself. So I said, try karte hain. Dekhte hain kya hota hai. So I still had my company, I was still working and all that, but I took the 1 million and I started spending 10, 15 hours a week making investments, right? Now, from 94 to 99, or almost till 2000, first 5 years, I did 70% a year, way above 24%. 1 million became 10 million in about 5 years. So I said, well done. It's going pretty well. Then I got Pabrai funds. People wanted me to invest money for them and so on. And then from 99 to 2007, we compounded at about 36% a year, double every 2 years. And then from 2007 to 2009, like you saw in the graph, it went down by about 65%. It went down a lot. And then from 2009 onwards, it took off again. So the 1 million I had and so now it has been 2017, 23 years have gone by. I'm still playing this game. The game is not over yet, 23 years. And in 23 years, what has happened is the 1 million has become about 170 million. Okay, so 170 times. And then I thought, why stop at 60? Why not just keep running this, right? So I said, let's tweak the game. No, not to finish the game at 60. Let's finish the game one day before I die, right? So I'm assuming I'll go till, can we raise the screen? So one of the things that's important in compounding is you have to know the length of the runway. When does the runway end, right? Now, most humans don't pay attention to, most humans don't understand about the runway, much less when the runway ends. What I decided is I have to know the date the runway ends. If I don't know that, I can't plan everything, right? So this is what I did. My date of birth is June 12, 1964. And I ran some tables, person born, male, Indian origin, living in US, born 1964, already 53 years old. Approximately, it said that I will live to about 80 or maybe 80 to 83 or something, somewhere in that age range. So I said, let's assume we are dead at 80. So the day I'm going to die is June 11th, 2044. That's the date of leaving planet Earth. How many years are left? Actually, only 26 and a half years are left. Not even 27 years. And actually, even a little bit less than 26 and a half years. I'm so sorry to tell you. But anyway, so June 11, 2044, you may see something in some newspaper. Please show up to the funeral. Are you going to show up to the funeral? Raise your hand if you're going to show up to the funeral. Looks like no one's showing up. Please. It's not that much effort to show up to the funeral. I'll try to make it at a central point. Are we going to show up to the funeral? Say yes. Yes. All right. All right. So don't forget the date. June 11, 2044. Okay. And so now June 11, 2044, we have, let's say 26 or 27, let's say 27 years left. Right? Now, I don't know what rate will compound at. Okay? If we get 25, 26%, that may be hard because larger numbers becomes harder. It'll be 2 to the power 9. form the current number, right? There will be 500 times. So you would take the, we would take the 170 million and multiply that by 500. Okay, this is at 26% or 24%, let's say. If we do, let's say 15%, it doubles every 5 years. So we have about 5.5 doubles, let's say 5 doubles. So we would get to about, so 32 times, right? So it would be 170 times 32. And one other thing that's happened here with me is I manage other people's money, right? That's my profession now. And so when I make money for them, I get some money from there as well. So there's a second engine, which is great. So what I decided is that all of this was just a mathematical game for me. I didn't really, the only reason I wanted to make the money was just to prove that it could be done. So then I said, okay, it becomes a problem if you die with large sums. And if you give large sums to my kids, you might see my kids later, then their life will not be fun. It's better for them to make their own money. So I told my kids, my 2 daughters, that listen, I can't give you any money because your life would be worse than if you make it on your own. So they both know they have to make it on their own, and they're happy to do that. And so that's good. So then what happens to this money? So then I decided, okay, let's give it away, right? And so I decided that we need some engine to give away the money. And so the engine, which is where you come in the picture. So the engine we set up was the Dakshana Foundation, got set up 10 years ago. So what I decided is, I like to play math games, right? So what I decided is that, okay, so what we can do is that I decided that when we crossed 50 million, I'm used to thinking in dollars, so any number I put up in dollars, you just multiply it by 64. So it's about, 300 crores approximately. So when I had 300 crores, I was about 42 years old. I said, what we'll do is let's give away 2% a year to figure out some engine where we can push the money out and do good for society. And then we decided that, okay, if you're going to give money away, broadly speaking, you can do 2 things. Give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. Which one should we do? Second one. So I thought, mandir ke bahar, bahut log baithe hote hain, and people are feeding those people. And there's nothing wrong with that. Very good activity. They should be fed. It's just that I can't feed them. Because I would rather take that guy sitting outside the mandir, take him away from that spot, train him on something, so he doesn't have to come the next day. And so I don't mentally have a problem with giving fish. I prefer teaching fishing, right? And I think most of you seem to agree that teaching fishing is a better way to go. So just like in investing, we're looking for high returns. If we're giving the money away, we want very high returns. And one of the highest return things I could think about was when I heard about Super 30, was the program of taking kids, prepping them, sending them to IIT, and now we've got sending them to med school. The reason this activity was of so much interest to me is because we don't spend that much money. On each of you, we are probably spending somewhere between approximately 1.5 lakh in the 1 year you are here. Approximately, that is what gets spent on you. About half of that is on food, and half of that is on boarding and your coaching and all that. So, but when we spend the 1.5 lakhs on you, if you go to IIT, the government spends approximately something like 6 to 8 lakhs on you once you enter IIT. So that is the amount approximately it's costing. Actually, it's 6 to 8 lakhs a year. So over 4 years, the government is spending approximately 25 lakhs on you once you enter IIT. So you may be paying 1 lakh or something for fees. The rest is all paid by the government. And so what happens with Dakshana is that when we spend 1.5 lakh on some poor kid, it forces the government to spend 20 times that money. Now, if I go to the government, and a lot of people in the government are my friends, I say, listen, I found a poor kid. He's a smart guy, poor guy. Just give him 25 lakhs so he can make his life better. You know what they'll tell me? Get lost. Okay, we're not interested in talking to you. But if I get you into IIT, it forces them to do that. So I love the fact that we spend 1.5 lakh and they spend 25. Great equal partnership. I love that. Okay, and so the thing is, we have a multiplier effect. But not only that, what happens is, after the 1.5 lakh is spent and you go to IIT and the government spends the money, after you finish, a lot of people want to hire you. You become like Sonia Patel, and you will have great income over your lifetime. All of that is a lot more than the 1.5 lakh. Your family's lives get changed, extended family lives get changed, a lot of things get changed. So I said, let's start doing that, and actually we were lucky. So we started in 2007. So if we are doing 50 million and giving away 2%, we can give away 1 million, right? And so what I decided is that when net worth is 50 million, we'll give 2%. When it becomes 100 million, we'll give 3%. When 150 million, we'll give 4%. Now we are at 4% engine. And we'll keep going, right? So the idea is that by June 10th, 2044, I should have nothing left. So now the thing is, I like to play games. Have you figured out I like to play games? Okay. You didn't know that? You're part of the game. Okay. So one engine, compounding. Great engine. Second engine, trying to get rid of the money. Okay. Also a great engine. But the problem is the compounding engine has got a big amount, I think big amount now, and it keeps getting bigger, which is good. And the giveaway engine, we have to keep finding more things that we can do. So what are we trying to do? So we bought Dakshana Valley, right? Dakshana Valley, now there are 250 of you. 250 is not enough to use the engine properly. So just to give you some numbers, because I want you to know my problems. You know, you have a lot of problems in life. I also have a lot of problems in life. Let me tell you what my problems. Okay, so there's 170 million. Okay, it's on a 4% engine, right? We crossed 150 million, so you're with me, right? What is 4% of this? What the 2% who are? You would have just lost one question in the IITG by answering so quickly. What is 4% of 170? 6.8, exactly. So let's say it's 6.8 million. And how much is this? Let's convert this into rupees, okay? So let's say round number 7 million. Let's say 1 million is 6 crores. So 42 crores, right? So let's say this is, this is 42 crores. Okay, now let's go to the other side. Let's say we only have the Dakshana Valley program, and let's say we are spending 150,000 per year per child, right? So in 1 crore, how many children can we take care of? Perfect. 66, so 1 crore is 66. And then how much is 42 crores? So about 2,400. Right? How many people are in Dakshana Valley right now? 240. So, you know, what I told Colonel is exactly what I'm telling you. Like they said from the Apollo space missions, Houston, we have a problem. So I told Colonel, in Kadus village, we have a problem. We need to go to 2,400 now. So then he said, we don't have room. We don't have dorms. We don't have many things. So I said, just make it a construction zone. So for next several years, Dakshana Valley, in my opinion, will just be one construction project after another. More dorms, more classrooms, more just keep pounding that engine to increase it. Now, it's not easy because we have to keep finding more kids and all. So what we are doing is, it's going from 240 this year to 600 next year. Not enough. What will happen to the 170 million next year? What's going to happen to that? So, ek to I'm not at, I want to give 6.8 million, 42 crores. I'm only able to give 4 crores. Because 1/10. I told you I have problems. So I'm thinking in my head, how do I solve the problem? Right? And I'm still thinking. So the thing is, now one of the things that may be happening is, just based on the investments I've made, it may be, I don't know for sure it will happen, it may be in next 1 year, it may be up 40%. Right? So, for example, let's take the 170 and do a 1.4 on it. You guys are good at math. What's 170 times 1.4? Pardon? 238. Thank you, because I wasn't going to, I left it to you to do it. 238. So 238 तो अभी 5% के engine पे आ गया है. Right? We are not no more. So what's 5% of 238? Yeah, so 12 million. Now, let me tell you what my problems are. You have problems, I told you I have problems. So what happened is, in 2017, we didn't spend the money. We were supposed to spend the 42 crores, we didn't spend it. Okay? And so here's what will happen. We have a eraser? Oh, here we go. Okay. So actually, good news is we don't need to erase. We can just keep going with the sliding boards. I wonder whose idea it was to have the sliding boards. So 2017, we did not spend 38 crores. Okay? We underspent. Right? 2018, if we get to 600 kids, right, and we are running at 600 kids, 600 kids we'll spend about 10 crores. Is that correct? Yeah, I think it's about 10 crores, right? So we are supposed to spend 12. So instead of 72 crores, we are spending 10 crores. So there's a surplus of 62 crores. 2019, what do you think happens in 2019? First of all, I don't know what happens, okay, FYI. Okay, I don't know what happens even next year, okay? But let's say, for example, the compounding engine works, right? Do you see we have a problem? Okay, so now let me flip the problem. One of the things my hero Charlie Munger says is, many problems you can solve by inversion, okay? Let's say we were only sending kids to IIT. Forget that there are NITs and NEET and all that, only IITs. So IITs, there's a second problem, which is there are only about 10, 12,000 seats. Should we take all the seats? सारे सीट ले लें सारे सीट मैं भी यही सोच रहा हूँ So, साढ़े seat लेने के लिए, let's say for example, 70% conversion rate है, okay? And let's say for example there are 10,000 IIT seats. So if we took like let's say 15,000 kids, we would take every IIT seat. A lot of people will be pissed off at Dakshana, okay? But we'll ignore that, okay? So the problem this program has is we're going to run out of seats. Realistically, we can't take all IIT seats because there are a lot of smart people who are rich who will be working very hard at Fiji and other places to go head-to-head with Dakshana. But we'll try. We'll give it a try. So what I told Colonel and his team is let's do 250, 600, 1,400, 2,500, and I didn't give them any number beyond 2,500 because I don't want to give them heart attacks. Okay? I just stopped at this number. I didn't talk any further. So they have accepted. They said, fine, we'll go and get it to this number. But this number, we need this number right here. Right? We're getting this number further out. So I'm thinking that, and the second problem is that, as we go further, just the numbers keep getting bigger and all that. It's all so the thing is, compounding actually works. And so my point of telling you all this is, it's working in the real world. You are part of the eighth wonder of the world. You didn't know that, but you're part of that. The future people coming to Dakshana are part of that, right? And it's fun. And why does it work? Because some guy like me likes math. Not complicated math, simple math. Okay? And so the key thing I want you to understand is that the simple ideas, none of these ideas are complicated. Was any of these ideas complicated? No. All your IIT papers, NEET papers, those are complicated. Okay? This is not complicated. Okay? The simple ideas with intensity of pursuit is what gets you to the promised land. Okay? Let's go to the next question.
I'm Shamli from Kendriya Vidyalaya, Belgaum. My question to you is, how to maintain the stress or patience after one or two successive loss? And what should a new investor should keep in his mind before any investment?
Okay, that's very good. So first of all, we have made all of you bulletproof against loss. Do you agree? Is anyone afraid of losses? No. So let's say I have this 170 million. Let's say the guy in North Korea launches some missiles into US. I can tell you what will happen. This number will go down to 60 million if that happens. Maybe even lower. Do you think I'll be sad? No, I won't be sad. You know why I won't be sad? Because there's a simple quote. If wealth is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, no, please, let me say it. If health is lost, something is lost. And if character is lost, everything is lost. What have we lost over here? Just wealth. So we don't care about it. So, and if it goes to 60 million, probably what happens is a lot of things become cheap, right? And I may find a way to make some investments which become like Sonia Patel, where it goes up a lot after that. So I might go from 170 to 60 to 300, for example, or 200. We'll see. So we don't know what the future is, but we're not particularly concerned about it. And अगर 60 पे चले गए हैं तो हम बोलेंगे ये चलने दो. Problem थोड़ी कम हो गई है. We don't have the problems we used to have. It's good. So either way, you can't lose. So basically the important thing is you don't need to really become an expert at investing. You need to understand 2 or 3 concepts. So, this compounding engine, there are 3 variables. Amount you start with, rate of return, length of runway. Okay, these are the 3 things that matter. And one of the things about rule of 72 is it's very elastic math. If I get 10% return a year, the double takes 7 years. If I get 7% return a year, the double takes 10 years. So in rule of 72, you can replace either the number of years or the rate of interest, and you'll get the other number, the double rate. So it's very easy to do the math with these. So once you understand that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world, and once you understand that there are these three variables. Now, I met a kid who was a Dakshana scholar at JNV Bangalore. He's graduated, he's working, and मैंने notice किया that when he came to the JNV Bangalore just a few months ago when I was there, he was wearing a very nice jacket. And this jacket was a jacket for riding motorcycle, which will protect you if you are, it's got all the reinforcements and all that. So if he goes crashing somewhere, the jacket will protect him. So I said, boss, jacket to zabardast hai. Okay? So I said, how much was the jacket? He said, sir, 10,000 rupees. I said, it can't be just the jacket. What is the model of the motorcycle? Right? So he rattled off some Royal Enfield something name. I'm not up on the Royal Enfield names, but somebody told me that was I think 2.5 lakh rupee motorcycle. So then I asked him, he was attending a lecture on compounding. Okay? Then I asked him, what is the savings rate? So he thought, he's looking at me like I'm from Mars. Okay? So he's saying, there's no savings rate, sir. I have the motorcycle, I have the jacket. Life is great. Okay? So I try to tell him that the motorcycle is not 2.5 lakhs. It's more than 25 crores. Why is it more than 25 crores? Because that is what went away. Right? The jacket, unfortunately, also in the crores. But I don't know if I changed his mind. So probably it's okay to have some fun, but you have to balance it. So it's okay to do that, but I think what I asked him to do, I said, listen, tweak it a little bit. Sharmila was there with me. I'm not making these stories up. Right? I said, tweak it, and she also told him, thoda save kar lo. Jada mat karo, thoda hi kar lo. I don't think we succeeded. We may have succeeded, we don't know. Maybe I'll nudge him in a few years, see what's happening. If by that time he doesn't buy the Mercedes, he's the kind who may buy the Mercedes. Okay? And once he buys the Mercedes, it's all over. That's it. You can't do anything. Okay, so it's very important. They say that they don't know exactly how hurricanes, we get a lot of hurricanes in the US, cyclones, and they don't know exactly how they get formed, but they think that there are some winds off the coast of Africa, very light winds, and over time they gather strength. So by the time they get close to US, they become hurricane strength, huge cyclones. So basically, the saying is that a butterfly flaps its wings near Africa, and New Orleans goes underwater. Okay? That is the way it is with compounding. You buy that jacket, there's a huge impact to buying that jacket. And he had no idea what the impact was. But I don't think he cared. I think after we talked to him, I'm not entirely sure that he cared. But let's go to the next question.
I am Lokeshna from JNV Ajmer, Rajasthan. My question is, so when normal person invest money, then they think that money multiplies. But market is not good all time. Then what is the guarantee that money will multiply?
Thank you, Lokeshna. There are no guarantees. अगर आपको गारंटी चाहिए तो आप गोल्ड खरीद लीजिए. maybe you want slightly better guarantee, then you can go to FD. FD actually is not bad. The only problem with FD is the prices are going up almost the same more level or higher than the FD is going up. So one of the things we get when we invest in companies is usually we'll get more return than the rate of inflation. So we get real returns, but it can be a bumpy ride, right? And the thing is that, but we don't care about the bumpy ride because the thing is, you're not really going to think about this money. You're just going to, put it aside and let it do its thing. And upar niche jo bhi ho raha hai, already we decided wealth is lost, nothing is lost. We already decided that. Didn't we decide that? Yes. Okay, so we focus on health and character. Forget the wealth. And we just take it from there. Next question.
I'm Sarojini from JNB Cuttack, Odisha. My question is how to increase investment exponentially so that it never declined at any cost?
Okay. Not going to happen. Sorry to tell you. I know, even I want to do that, so it doesn't ever go down. But the guy in North Korea is crazy. He'll wake up in a bad mood someday, press a button. That's it. So we don't have control over a lot of things. We just want to basically put the odds in our favor. So these are all games of probability, and there are no guarantees. But the thing is that the bottom line is that your biggest asset is not your savings. Your biggest asset is what you have between your ears, the knowledge you have between your ears. That is your greatest asset, right? That's why we are teaching you these things. So, and as you go on in time, 5 years after becoming a doctor or 10 years after becoming a doctor and so on, you become more and more valuable because you know more. And that is your biggest asset. What you have to try to do above all costs is save what's between your ears. Forget about the money and all that. That is irrelevant. It's what's between your ears that matters the most. So that's what I care about the most, is what's between the ears. And what I try to do every day is, in the night when I go to sleep, I should be slightly wiser than when I woke up. I should know something a little bit more, so lifelong learning, right? Want to keep learning a little bit more every day. And so that's the important thing. So we don't really want to be that concerned. Your question is a very valid one. Most humans have trouble with ups and downs, and they can't deal with ups and downs because they watch it too much. So one is, don't watch it too much. And the other is, you're going to make a lot of money in the future. So what is happening with your past savings is not that relevant, quite frankly. It has relevance, but not a lot of relevance. Next question.
My name is Samir Dupare. I am from Jeni Wardha, Maharashtra. Sir, my question is, if there rises some circumstances of major event in the world, like war, then how would that affect on the stock market, like before and after?
We just talked about that. Your question was about wars and such, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so please have a seat. Yeah, so we are always going to have events that are going to create distortions. Like, for example, we had demonetization, right? Suddenly, out of the blue, demonetization happened, right? And the Sensex immediately went down, okay? Now it is higher than what it was before demonetization. But right then, it went down a lot. And for example, what happened with the demonetization is it became hard. One of the things, so what a person like me does is I'm continuously looking for where can I find opportunity, right? And when things like demonetization happen or anything like this happens where things go down in price, it is an opportunity. So just to give you a sense of what was happening. So one of the things that was happening just before demonetization is in India when people were doing real estate transactions, buying and selling property, or flats or apartments or whatever, a lot of cash was in these transactions. So there'll be some payment by check and a lot of payment by cash, right? But cash was suddenly taken away, right? So if one day before demonetization, you were going to buy some flat for 1 crore, for example, and you had agreed with the seller that I will give you 50 lakhs in white and 50 lakhs in black, right? And you and the seller have agreed to that. One day after demonetization, you'll go to the seller and say, either number one, I don't want your flat anymore, okay? Because my 50 lakhs in black is no longer valid currency, is gone, right? Or you'll have to come up with new terms. And the new terms will probably require almost all bank payment. Because they took away all the cash. So the only way to buy that apartment is to pay in check, right? In the long run, it's very good for the country, very good for all these stupid things to go away. But what happened is that India has about more than 5,000 companies that are traded on the stock market. Like I told you, Nifty has 50 companies, Sensex has 30 companies. The total number of companies traded on the stock market in India is more than 5,000. Some of these companies are real estate companies. They make buildings and apartments and sell them. What do you think happened to their stocks after demonetization? Instant crash. Because the whole way they are doing business has to change, right? Because you can't do things the same way. And so what happened is that for many of these companies, they have all these assets, but the price of the company went down a lot. And I went in after demonetization, bought all of them. Because nobody wants to hold them. When things are going down, everyone wants to sell. Only I'm trying to buy. And now, a year after demonetization, what has happened? Whatever money I put in has tripled. Well done, Mohnish. Okay, so why did it triple? Now, if demonetization had not happened, I would have not had that opportunity, right? So the thing is that whenever there is one of the things I learned is that whenever there is a dislocating event, it's going to create opportunity. And the good thing for all of you is that your money is going into the market every month for 40, 50 years. It's gradually going in. So if markets go down, those months you will get a lot of shares because prices are low. And so those shares actually do well. So this is the nature of the market. So when demonetization happened, gold went up in price. Okay? Well, it's still the same, 3 times or 4 times in 30 years or 40 years. But the real assets actually, like other things, went down, and so we had opportunity to do well with that. So that was the situation there. Other questions? Yeah.
Hello, sir. I am Mohnish from JNV Jafarpur, Karan, Delhi. My question is, some people think that buying share for make money is just like betting, and it's useless. So why to take risk and become bankrupt?
Yeah, that's a good question. So first of all, please have a seat. So first of all, the thing is, you can't go bankrupt. And the reason you can't go bankrupt is because your money is going into the stock market over a long period of time. You earn some money this month, you put a little bit in. Next month, you put a little bit in. And so let's say today the Sensex is at 33,000. Some bad events happen, it goes down to 10,000. So whatever money you put in has gone down by 2/3 or more. But next month when you put it, it'll go in at that 10,000 level, and so on. So bottom line is that since most of your money is going to go in the future, not today, the rupee cost averaging of putting it in gradually works in your favor. And so you don't need to really be too concerned. The key is to ignore all the fluctuations and gyrations and all that, and just look at things overall, and then you're fine. So I think just like I said, some people will get comfortable with this, and some people won't. And so you should only go down this path if you're comfortable. And if you're not, then that's perfectly fine as well. Next question.
Sir, I am Tanmay from JNV Nadia, West Bengal. Sir, my question is how to make a good amount of money in a short time and my capital is also less?
Very good question. I have no idea. So the important thing with investing is, like they have the story of the rabbit and the tortoise. Who wins the race? Tortoise. Who is faster? The rabbit loses. So the key to investing is not to be in a hurry and not to want to make a lot of money in a short period of time. Generally speaking, you'll lose all your money if you do that. The key to investing is to be patient and to focus on kind of slow and steady, if you will. So I told you the Sensex went up 500 times in the last 35, 36 years. There are individual companies that have done much better than that. There are also lots of companies that have done much worse than that. So if you start trying to go into the markets and individual companies and all without having good knowledge, you're probably going to do worse than the index. And so that's not a good idea. So I would say that it's not a good idea to have a mindset that you want to get rich quickly. When I started playing the game in 1994, I thought 2024 is really far away, right? It's 30 years away. And when I started playing the game in 1994, I had a head full of hair, like all of you. The money came, but the hair went away. Okay? But it's okay, The hair is mostly a vestigial organ. We don't need the hair. So the thing is that I wasn't in a hurry. I wasn't looking to take the million into really fast methods or whatever else. I wanted to be careful because any number, no matter how big it is, if you multiply it by 0, what is the result? Exactly. So we don't want to get large numbers and then multiply by 0. So we want to make sure that we are there to play the game the next day. And so I don't want to, I would say that don't be in a hurry. Be patient and it'll work out. Next question? Yeah.
Sir, I am Suraj from JNV Raigad, Chhattisgarh. Sir, I am very grateful to you for establishing such an institution for children like us. Companies invest to earn profit. You are investing in the Dakshana Foundation. How this idea came to your mind, sir? Is your patriotic feeling for India made you to do this?
Okay, that's a good question. Well, yeah, please have a seat. I think I explained some of the motivation. When I'm making investments, what I try to look for is good returns with less risk. I try to look for that. And when I'm looking for giving money away, we definitely want to try to get good returns for the money so that maximum number of good can be done. And so the idea for Dakshana, so I knew in 2006 when we were crossing 50 million that I have to do something. Okay, but at that time in 2006, I had no idea. I knew in general I want to focus on India, and I knew in general I want to focus on education, because teaching fishing is better than giving fish. I knew these things. But beyond that, I didn't have any idea. So then I was reading an article in Business Week in, I think, October of 2006. And it was an article on Super 30, on Anand Kumar. And that's the first time I heard about Super 30 and Anand Kumar. And when I read the article, what jumped out at me was that what Anand Kumar was doing was he was coaching poor kids for different exams, physics, mainly math in different areas. And he was not charging high fee, but whatever fees were coming, he was taking a good portion of that fee and funding Super 30 program. And Super 30, what he was doing at the time was his mother would make all the food for the kids, the 30 kids, and he rented some rooms in that slum area where he was in Patna, and the kids used to stay there. And the whole cost for Anand Kumar at the time was about 7-8 lakhs. So it was costing about 7-8 lakhs per year. So approximately per student, it was costing about 25,000. And I just told you Dakshana's cost is 1.5 lakhs, right? One of the reasons is he doesn't have a classroom like this. The classroom of Super 30 has no walls on the side. It is a shed, and there's no air conditioning or anything like that. And it's in a congested area, poor area of Patna. So his infrastructure cost is much lower. And like I said, his mother was cooking for the kids, and he's renting space around. So, Dakshana Valley would look like a 5-star hotel compared to Super 30. And the 5-star hotel costs 6 times more than Super 30. It's just the way it is. But when I saw that he's picking 30 kids and he spends 25,000 rupees per kid, and what happens to that child's life after going through Super 30, it's a huge return on the 25,000, right? It's completely transformational. And even before Anand Kumar, what had happened with me was many years before that. So Anand Kumar was, I noticed that in 2006. I think this was probably in 93, 94, long time back. My parents had told me that one of my cousins in Mumbai, he had finished a BCom degree, Bachelor of Commerce, and he had no job. Finished BCom, he has no job. So they said, hey, Mohnish, Arvind has finished his degree, he has no job. Is there something you can do? So I was at that time running a IT services business. And I used to have a lot of employees who had done BCom, but after BCom, they had done some computer course, MCA or some NIT diploma or something else, and then they had gotten a good job. So what I did is I knew a very small software consulting firm in Delhi, friends of mine. I knew them. There were like 4 of them. And they were just starting. But they were really, really good, smart people. So I told them, hey, listen, my cousin is there in Mumbai. I'll move him to Delhi. I want him to work with you guys, and you don't pay him. 0 pay. Just let him work every day. And what I told my cousin at the same time is enroll in NIT course, some software programming course. So this company told me that, Mohnish, no problem, your cousin can come, we won't pay him, but he needs to bring 1 chair, 1 desk, and 1 computer. We will put all the desk, chair, computer in our place, and then he can come and work. And in the 16 hours a day when he is not working on the computer, we need to be allowed to work on that computer. So I said, no problem. So I bought him a computer, and I bought the desk and chair. I moved him from Bombay to Delhi, and he stayed with my parents. And he started taking classes at NIT. And he worked at this company for 1 year, right? And in 1 year, he became a crack VB, Visual Basic Programmer. Very good. And so then he went back to Mumbai, 20 job offers. Everybody wants to hire him, right? Same guy that no one wanted to hire 1 year ago, everyone wants to hire him. And now he's doing really well. He lives in London, he's doing quite well. So I thought about, what did it cost? So there was no room and board cost because he's living with my parents. And we sent him by train from Bombay to Delhi, and we sent him back by train Delhi to Bombay. That didn't cost much. The computer, he still had the computer after a year. That was the most expensive part, was just the computer. The table and chair didn't cost much. So when I saw the amount it cost me, and I saw the transformation of his life, I knew that education can have transformational so this happened about 12 or 13 years before I even thought about Dakshana or anything, or even I heard about Super 30. So then when I saw Super 30, I thought about the previous example I had with my cousin. I said, what Anand has done is he has industrialized it. What I had done in the early 90s was just for one relative, right? So I said, okay, let's go and fund Anand Kumar to scale. So I contacted him, and he said, we don't take any donations. Thank you. Thank you for your interest. So then I said, you know what, I'll go meet him and convince him to take the money. So I went to Patna in March of 2007. Again, I told him, listen, 30 people is very small. We should scale it, and you are a good guy. I'd like to fund you. And he said, I have no interest. We don't want to take any outside money. We want to keep it our 30 program, etc., nothing more. So then I said, okay, this guy is not going to change his mind. I asked him, would you mind if we duplicate your program? Copy everything that you're doing. He said, no, I'll help you. It's a good thing. You should do that. So I said, okay. He has no problem if we duplicate the program. And so that's what I was forced to do, is I was trying to avoid creating Dakshana with people and infrastructure and all that. But then we had a problem, right? Just like we have a problem now. We had the 50 million. We had to give away the million. We had to do that. And so I said, okay, it doesn't matter how successful or failure or whatever happens, we'll keep giving this money away. In 5-10 years, we'll figure it out. Let first 5 million go away, or 7 million people can take advantage of me, whatever else. Eventually, I'll figure it out. But what actually happened is that when we started Dakshana, when we first started Dakshana, we'd never heard of JNV. I didn't know what JNV, we'd never heard of it, right? And we were trying to figure out, see, with Anand Kumar, when he announces Super 30 test, a lot of people come to take the test. Maybe 10,000 kids come. So out of 10,000 kids, you pick 30, of course they are going to go to IIT. You're going to get really good filtering. In our case, in 2007, Dakshana is unknown. Who is going to come to take Dakshana test? Nobody. Nobody has heard of it, right? So I was trying to figure out this problem. How do we find poor kids who are really smart, right? And I was trying to find a problem, and so we were talking to coaching institutes in Kota and all that. So few of them repeatedly told us, you should look at JNV. And so then we had a meeting in Delhi with Navodaya Samiti. And at that time, the JNVs, they had a problem. The problem they had is they knew they had really good kids. But after 12th, there was nothing. Because, there's no access to competitive exams, and you're sometimes middle of nowhere. What are you going to do after that? So the talent pool was not being harnessed in a proper way, right? And so they were willing, Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti was willing to take a chance on startup Dakshana with no track record because they had no choice. Their perspective was, we have to try to do something for the kids. There were two really good guys, the head of academics and the commissioner. They were both really good guys. They genuinely wanted a better future for Dakshana kids, for JNV kids. And they said, okay, this NGO has come. They are saying they'll do it. We'll give them a try. If it doesn't work, it's okay. We'll just shut down the program. And if it does work, then our kids will get helped. And so that's how we got this program going. And so then I was happy that this engine had started. You know, we got the engine going. And here we are at this point. And I'm really happy that now we have expanded to beyond JNVs. We have expanded beyond IITs. We have expanded to medicine. And I'm hoping we can expand more and more into the state government schools and scale it so we can solve some of these issues we're trying to solve. But eventually what we'll have to do, in my opinion, is we'll have to start a second unrelated program of different kinds of fishermen. You know, this engine can do up to a certain point. I'll have to figure out another engine. And the thing in charity or philanthropy is that you have to, you know, in investing, what we try to do is we try to minimize risk and maximize return. In charity, what you have to do is you have to take a lot of risk to try to change the world. You cannot change the world if you are going to be very careful. So you have to go high risk, high return in charity. So what we will do is once we get a little further along, Dakshana will probably take bold decisions and bold bets where we could lose our money. And if we lose our money, that's fine, because we will learn. Every time I think if we lose our money, we'll learn, and we'll get better. So maybe in a few years, you'll be able to see where we are at. And every year if you read the annual report of Dakshana, I'll talk about all of this, the two games. You know, so I would say this, I am not a person who's trying to, I'm not trying to make the world better, okay? Honestly, what I'm doing is I'm just playing two games, a compounding game and a giving away game, and trying to get to zero. And it's just a side effect that there's some improvement in some people's lives. So that's what we're trying to do, is keep playing the games, and the side effect is you guys get a better life, which is great. Other questions?
Sir, I am Aman Tiwari from JNV Jhansi, UP. Sir, my question is, how do you manage keeping confidence, amalgam with patience on yourself when your business is not running well, or you confront with adverse situation? Actually, sir, I love engineering, but as an amateur, I have a great interest in business. So how can I cultivate those skills inside me? Moreover, sir, on applying compounding theory, we can earn immense money, but practically it takes up a lot of time. So how can an amateur and inexperienced guy like me but withstand during these adverse time? And how can he handle fear of losing all his earning?
Okay. There are a lot of questions in there. So let me take it in reverse. So first question was, fear of losing everything. Well, you can't lose everything at the age of 22, because if 22, whatever you put goes to zero, 23 will not go to zero, or 24 will not go to zero, right? Because the money is going in every month. And so if a particular point in time, even if it goes down 100%, all the future money is still there that has yet to go in. So I think you don't have the risk. So the bigger risk, like I said, your biggest asset is what is between your ears, what's in your brain. That's the asset you have to protect, not what's in the bank. What is in the bank is a very small amount. What is in your brain is a large amount. And the important thing with the brain is, so Warren Buffett has a saying. He says that, let's say you could have any car in the world. Some genie came to you and said, any car you want, I'll give you. Okay? But there's a catch. The catch is, whatever car you get, that is the only car you get for your whole life. Okay, so if you say, I want this Honda City, you'll get a brand new Honda City, but you have to keep that Honda City for next 70 years. Okay, so, and if the Honda City stops working, no other car will come. That's it. So if that is the situation, you are going to be really careful with that Honda City. Okay, you will make sure anything small goes wrong, it's fixed immediately. You'll keep it in prim and proper shape. You make sure all the parts are there, and it runs really well. So we only get one brain for the whole life. You don't get to change your brain. And so just like the car that you can't change, if you have only one brain, you can't change that brain. What do you want to do with that brain? You want to make that brain more valuable every day. And it is a blank canvas when it starts. You want to keep putting more and more data in that brain that makes it more and more valuable, right? And that is the key. So don't stop the learning when you enter IIT or when you finish IIT or when you get your first job. The learning has to continue for your whole life. Even now, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get better at many things. And so that's the important thing. The important thing is that you are a lifelong learner. Now, the second thing is that you mentioned that you don't know much, but you are interested in starting a business, right? So there is no problem. All you need to do is, right now, forget about starting a business. Right now, focus on getting a great JE rank, because that is the important thing. First step, great JE rank. Second step, try to get into IIT, which gets you closest to the field that you want. Okay, not the field that pays the most money. Just like our poet, try to get into the field that you like the most, not the one that gives you the most money. And then after that, once you are second or third year IIT and you are looking at different things, try to see if you can come up with some idea of some business, okay? And you know, my younger daughter is here today. Both my daughters are here today. So my younger daughter, she is 20 years old. She's in college right now. And she already knows no money is coming to her. You know, all this is going away. Both my daughters know that. And both of them have no problem with that. They are fine with it, no problem. So the younger daughter knows that family se kuch nahi milne wala, right? So she told me that I want to start a business, just like you, right? And so she says, after I finish college, I don't want to take a job. I want to start a business. So I said, that's very good. So then I said, how will you support yourself? You know, if you start business, then where's the money coming from? So I gave her an idea. I said, listen, you interview with different companies for them to hire you. After they are ready to hire you, then you go to them and say, listen, you are going to pay me, for example, $80,000 a year. You know, in the US, that's probably what she'll get paid, 70, 80,000. I want to work 50% time, and you pay me 50%. So pay me 40,000 a year, and I'll work half time, 20 hours a week. And work just enough to pay all your expenses, and then use the rest of the time on your business, right? And I told her, the first business you start will fail. Whatever effort went in will be gone. No problem. I said, after that, start second business. That will also fail. Then start third business. Also fail. And each time the business is failing, you're going to learn. Why did it fail? What didn't work? This team member was not good. Next time I won't have this person on my team. I'll have that person. keep making changes. So every time I have failed at something, it has led to greater growth in the future because of the failure. We don't learn from success, we learn from failure. And I told a fourth business after 3 failures, that will succeed. And that will make a lot of money. Did I answer all your questions? Okay, सब फंडे clear है? बस ऐसे ही करिए. Next question.
Hello sir, I am Mukesh Bari from JNV Burhanpur MP. So my question is that, is investing by borrowing is a good option?
Really good question. It is a very bad option. So please have a seat. So there is unfortunately Shakespeare. I don't think is part of the CBSE curriculum. Did you study Shakespeare? Yes. So sad. Okay, maybe after you graduate from IIT or NIT you can study it. So one of Shakespeare's plays is Hamlet. You may have heard of it. So in Hamlet there's a section where a son is going away on a long journey. And the father and son are having a conversation before the son leaves. And the father is giving this son some advice for life. And the father's name is Polonius. So it's a very famous kind of dialogue. So if you just Google Polonius father-son dialogue, it will show you that whole section. And one portion of that section is, neither a borrower nor a lender be. Okay, and he's telling his son, don't lend people money and don't borrow money from people. And then he goes to the next step where he says, I don't remember the exact quote, but he says, if you do it with a friend, you will lose the friend and the money, both. So if you don't want to lose your friend and don't want to lose the money, don't get into that. So we are not going to borrow money. We are not going to try to get rich fast. We are always going to stay within our means. And we're going to invest from the money we have. So I have nothing borrowed from anyone. Because when the intercontinental ballistic missiles get launched from North Korea, I don't want someone telling me, give my money back to me. I don't want that phone call. So we have no borrowings. Next question. Yeah. And what we'll do is we'll make this the last question.
Sir, I Samir Kumar from Kendriya Vidyalaya Henu Ranchi, Jharkhand. Sir, at first I would like to know your journey of life, and my dream is to become like a man like you. Then what should I do? Thanks, sir.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure that's the best thing to do, but please have a seat. Well, first thing is understand rule of 72, understand compounding, understand putting some money away, and then beyond that, I would say when you're like, in IIT, second, third year, whatever, read the Dakshana annual reports. That will give you a lot of data about kind of how we've been through this journey. And then with Russo's help, we make some videos on YouTube. Watch those videos. And then I think you figure out your own path. Take all that data, and then I've already shared with you the way the journey has been for me. It doesn't need to be the same journey. My younger daughter's journey may be different than mine. Probably will be different than mine, because she's not telling me she wants to compound. She just wants straight moonshot. She's just going straight for zero or hero return, which is fine. So I think you just look at some of the data that came out today, and like I said, Google me, find out stuff about me. You may not like some things you learn about me, so don't copy everything. Only copy the things that you like, and we'll take it from there. So with that, I'd like to thank you all. It was a lot of fun. So thanks for putting up with me, and I hope you enjoyed it. But don't get, this is actually the wrong time for me to do this with you. because ideally I should do this with you one day after your exams are over, where you have nothing else going on in your heads. So I would just say, just ignore this lecture till after your JEE Advanced and NEET exams and all that, and then start thinking about it, and then probably think about it more when you start working and earning and so on. So all the best. Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right.